Mr. Gheorghiu, you said something that Bobby Fischer won 20 games in a row.
Yeah, in that period from, I don't know which period exactly, from 1970, but he won one after another game, 20 games in
20
a row.
games.
Yeah, like this. It was unbelievable. Well, it was unbelievable what happened afterwards also. No? 6-0 against Taimanov, 6-0 against Larsen, 6.5 against, 2.5 against Petrosyan, and finally the games from Reykjavik. Well, that was Bobby Fischer. It was the best player ever, probably,
So here is against Larsen.
Against Larsen. This was also a very nice example. What can happen in King's Indian when black has the initiative against the king? And you'll see. Very nice game also. Okay, castle, e4, d6. Okay, main line.
King's Indian.
King's Indian now. e5, castle, knight c6, d5, 97. Okay, 97, 92. It's one of the main lines. Here white can also play, instead of knight d2, knight e1 or bishop d2. Theory again, everything is theory. But knight d2 is the most popular, even now. So knight d2, okay, c5. c5 is the best way to play for black. Here, in that position, black has two ways of playing. Waiting a little bit by playing knight e8 or knight e8 and f5 immediately, and giving white a chance to play on the queen side with b4, c5, and so on. This is also theory. Or playing immediately c5, trying to block the position on the queen side, and later on try to come on the other side against the white king, you see. It seems that this line with c5 is the best, even now. I tried also for black many times, and it worked. It's very difficult for white to have something, because you play like against a wall, on the queen side. Even if you have initiative on the queen side, maybe you win a pawn or something. But in the meantime, on the other side, it's very dangerous, because your king is a little bit exposed, In this, if it's exposed a little bit more, it's decided, it's finished, you see. Like in our game here, it happened, you see. And therefore, the game is very instructive. So, Larsen didn't play badly. I mean, he tried everything on the queen side, normally, but it wasn't enough. Okay, so now b4, b6. Here, the alternative is also to try to play immediately to change the plan. It's possible. You can take in b4, rook takes, and knight c7, knight a6. Put the knight in c5, also very good for black.
So he takes, rook takes.
Yeah, and now knight c7. Knight c7, he wants to come with the knight in c5. If you come with the knight in c5 and later on you play b6, also very good for black, It's like my game against Hertneck, if you remember, a very beautiful game. We show it already. But this is the alternative. It's not necessary. Black can play normal b6. Okay, b6, a4. All right. Everybody plays on their side, White on the queen side, black on the queen side.
The race is on.
Yeah, okay. They started already. Okay, so here, knight back. Everything theory until now, you see. So here he played queen a4. Queen a4, bishop d7, queen a3. Well, until now, white tried everything, all right, but it's nothing decisive. He's a little bit better on this side, Bishop a6, excellent move, because the bishop from from g7 didn't play for the moment. He threatens something. Here he threatens a pawn, but he doesn't want to take the pawn and give the very strong bishop. But he controls the diagonal, very important, So white has to take a decision. He waits with bishop d3, controlling the square e4. So queen c7, and now what to do? He opens the game. He took, and here, or a move later, or somewhere later, white had to play a6 or knight b5. It was a good alternative for white to try to do something, a6 threatens something, and knight b5 also. So therefore, it was probably a good alternative. He didn't play like this, and later on, black had the advantage. So he took, and bishop c2. And now against bishop c2, very strong move, a6. He gives the square b6, but he doesn't give the other two possibilities, a6 and knight b5. So therefore, this is a very strong defensive move, and black prepares, the plan on the other side later on, you see. So he
stopped
here,
the queen side in order to focus.
well, he wants to come on the other side, of course, later on. So here Larsen realized the danger, and he played himself knight e4, trying to trade a few pieces. Okay, knight e4 is okay. He took there, knight check, rook takes, and rook takes c1. Okay, rook takes c1. The other rook, in effect, he's preparing every piece coming, So rook b6, white is coming also. No, bishop c8, doesn't give the pawn, no. And okay, now we have the result. What to do here? The normal move here was bad or good. In my opinion, he had to play here rook b1, the other rook in b1. Maybe it was some difference later on, maybe.
Yeah.
After knight e2, black takes completely the initiative in a few moves, you see. It seems that knight e2 is all right, but he's coming too late all the time. For one move, you'll see. The initiative is very strong for black. So knight e2, f4. Okay, now after f4, already dangerous because he's threatening already f3. If he can't play f3, he can resign in a few moves, So bishop e4, knight f5 with tempo, So what to do? Rook c6, and now, very strong again, queen there. So, all right. Rook b1. And he realized he wants to come, but it's a little bit too late, So now, knight, decisive already, knight h4. Why? Because white doesn't have time to move, to threaten something. Here, the idea was after knight h4 to try to win two pieces for a rook, like this. Rook takes c8, rook takes c8, and queen h3. But unfortunately for white is completely lost after the simple move rook f8 back, the other rook f8. And now when you take in h4,
this one? Okay.
Yeah, you have to take the knight, rook h6, and you lose the queen. Very nasty surprise.
Yeah.
You see, one move too much, All right, so if you don't have time to play like this, you are completely lost with white here. Because he's threatening already f3,
Yes.
So, okay, queen d3, and after queen d3, bishop f5. Well, okay, he could play f3, okay, immediately also. But okay, bishop f5, king f1. Here, he could win also immediately. He played f3, I think, no?
No,
f3.
Yes.
Or instead of f3, he had a very nice alternative also, queen takes g2 check. Look at this. He has to take, and now bishop takes d3, and you lose every piece with white.
You lose every piece?
Yeah.
If you put like this?
You lose the rook in b1.
Yes. Yes, you lose the rook.
Okay, he played f3. Even more spectacular. Yeah. Okay, now what to do? The only move is to play knight g3 because, okay, the only
Yes.
move. Okay, knight g3. And after knight g3, everything is forced. He took in e4. You have to take only with the queen because otherwise it's mate in f3. If you take with the knight, it's knight f3 mate.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So he took with the queen. Now, knight f3 check. King takes g2. Knight d2. Catastrophe resign. He loses everything.
Yeah.
Threat in f2, threat in b1, threat in e2, in e4. Terrible position. What do you think? Fantastic game, no?
Fantastic game, fantastic end game.
Yeah. Terrible. You look at this, I mean, you can't believe, such a thing. In a few moves. And it was Larsen. Larsen was in that time the best player of the world on the Western side. I mean, the Western countries, he was the best, except Fischer, of course.
Yeah.
And to tell the truth, 1 year or in the same year, no, 1 year before, in 1970, they had a match, the rest of the world against the Soviet Union. And Fischer, to avoid any problems, let Larsen on the first board to play against Spassky, and he accepted the fact that he played second against Petrosian. And everybody was very impressed. How could Bobby do such a thing? Well, it was a very nice gesture, to give a chance. But it was also by respect, because Larsen was considered one of the best ever, in that moment. And look what a catastrophe here.
Yeah, actually, it was not so
terrible. It's almost unbelievable. Look, all the white pieces are playing on this side. In the meantime, the king is hopeless against the black pieces,
Against all the black pieces.
Well, mate everywhere, you see.
Yes. Very nice. Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
Yeah, welcome.